What's up, Tyler and Keith?
Hi.
Plugged on. We're here. We're going to talk about the new album from Havok, titled 5. It's their 5th album. First album since 2017's Conformicide. If you don't know Havok, they are a thrash band. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah. I know, like, their last album was an album that I rarely return to. There's a couple tracks on there. I'm not saying it's bad, but it just never stuck with me like early Havok did.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, Time Is Up. I think it's by far their best album. And so, I was interested. I like Havok. Interested in new stuff. So, what did you think of this album?
I definitely like this album more than their last album. I think to me, part of the thing with their last album was just how on the nose their last album was with some things. Like thrash is political. Maybe arguably you can maybe argue like one of the more political metal subgenres or whatever. But like the last album was so just like I don't know. It was just so just like to the point that it was kind of almost distracting. And I because I listened to this album earlier today to listen to that album again to kind of get a feel from it. And like there's like good songs. There's Hang 'Em High and Intention to Deceive and there's a couple other ones that are good, but there's also like just a lot of weird songs that still I'm just like I don't get. I definitely think this album does that kind of stuff better. I mean, right off the bat, I really like the first 4 tracks.
Me too.
I think each of them have something great. Like Post Truth Era is just a good opening track. I really like the like Fear Campaign is another great like just thrash track, especially like the middle riff is good. Ritual of the Mind, I love the main riff to that song, and Betrayed by Technology has another fun main riff. And yeah, I just like those 4 tracks are really good. And then I'd also like just sort of the vibe on this album a little bit better because it's more straight to the point of thrash. Again, like as you mentioned in the intro, like Time Is Up is their best album. That was the first album that I heard and that I fell in love with this band. And so then the fact that their last album wasn't that might have attributed to some of the this isn't what I wanted. This album steps a little bit more to that. It still does some of the more interesting stuff. I mean, I think the song like "Don't Do It" is a little bit more less straightforward, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Panpsychism. Panpsychism. Now that I read it, I read it right now, or like get weird. But like Phantom Force is cool, and Cosmetic Surgery. Not as again. I think they're not as good as the opening 4 tracks, but there's a lot of good stuff on this album. I noticed this listening to this album, and I'm just to draw a comparison. Maybe I'm unfounded drawing the comparison. I get a lot of Megadeth and Death Angel vibes from these guys' style, from like vocally and stuff like that. But I think the vocals are better on this album. They just sound more raw, and I think it's just the overall quality of the sound. Their last album sounded, when I was listening to it again, it's like hollow. Maybe it might be not hollow. That sounds bad, but like it just felt more airy. Whereas this had a little bit more of a kick to it, which I really like. And oh no, I'm blanking on what song it was. Was it It's either Post Truth Era or Fear Campaign. I really like the solo in that song. It starts off really like weird, and then it kicks into like a traditional
Fear Campaign.
Yeah, it starts
like
off really.
There's a lot of like he's almost like fucking with the whammy bars, like. It's like, shit, yeah, this is groovy. I like this. It's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff like that on this album, and it just feels good for there to be like a Havok album that like, to just be like, even though it's not my favorite thing, it's like semi excited for. Cause like you said, I literally don't think I went back and listened to their last album probably once after we reviewed it because I was just like, it didn't stick, and it was just like probably not even songs. You know what I mean? Like I listened to like, oh yeah, right. There's my perception of that album was so like, it's not bad, but meh. But so Yeah, I think this is a good next step. I think maybe there might be some room to grow. Like I guess this is their style and their sound now. This more sort of political, um, less just balls to the wall thrash. But I think there's room to grow. But I think this is a good next step. I do enjoy this album.
Yeah, I like this album way more than I thought I was going to, and I love it way more than their last album. There's actually like a bunch of songs on here that I would come back to if I'm like I want to listen to Havok. There's a good number of these tracks that I would throw on. It's just something, and I 100% agree with you about just the production of their last album. It's just it was really lacking, especially when you listen to this album now. Like they really nailed the production on this one. It's not as kind of a raw, just stripped down, heavy thrash sound that like Time Is Up had, but it does have that heaviness to it. I mean, Ritual of the Mind is probably like the track that I would point to of like, to me, there's not a lot on their last album that sounds as heavy as that song does on here. And that song's my favorite song on this album. It's got such an amazing hook to it, both vocally and on the guitar side. Like they just go hand in glove. It's awesome. And so I just feel like the production stepping up, and then also just the songwriting has just way more hooks to it, whether it's a guitar riff or the vocals. It just sticks with you a hell of a lot more. I love how this album starts with Post-Truth Era. Reminds me a little bit of like Blackened from And Justice From All.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just with the way it kind of is starting in with some weird guitar work coming, I'm like, all right, yeah. And then that song has a lot of really good hooks to it. Fear Campaign's just an amazing song. I mean, I would love to see Havok. I would love to just go to a show someday when it's safe, of course. But I would love to see Havok play that song live. The place is fucking packed because when that middle section goes, that place is going to go fucking nuts. Of just a bunch of dudes headbanging, jumping in the pit. I mean, that is like a classic thrash riff in the middle of that song. It's so good. But yeah, even some of the other songs, like towards the end, like Cosmetic Surgery is really good. Has a lot of really weird riffage going on that I think works pretty well. Panpsychism is a pretty great track, and then Don't Do It is a pretty epic closing track for Havok. It's like over 8 minutes long, which those guys, they've written long. There was a couple of songs on their last album that were 7 minutes long, but I don't know, just that one held my attention the whole way through. And I think that's the thing. It's just, this is an album that I wanted to go back to after my first listen. I'm like, I dig this. It feels good, where I agree. I don't think I revisited their last album. I might have like once or twice, but I really didn't listen to a lot of it until this past week when I'm like, I haven't listened to that album in a while, and this album's out. And it still just doesn't get its hooks in me like their earlier stuff does. Even like Time Is Up's my favorite, but even like their Point of No Return EP is amazing. Havok's just, they're an interesting band for sure, and they're definitely, in my opinion, one thing that I like about them though is they're definitely kind of carving their own path in the thrash metal genre and their own sound, their own style, and I give them major props for that. And they, they have a lot of potential still, even 5 albums deep, and so we'll see where they go from here. But yeah, I like it. I don't think I like it more than, if we're talking about recent thrash releases, I definitely like Warbringer's album more. I probably even like Testament's album more.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Not saying that this album is bad at all. It's got a lot of good jams on it. I just think those albums they hit me where I want to be hit, especially Warbringer. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. Remember when we opened for Havok?
Yeah, I brought that up like not too long ago, like in conversation. I was like, "Oh yeah, right. I opened up for these guys."
Yeah,
Right.
Havok, Skeleton Witch, and what was the other band? Early Graves?
Maybe it was like
Maybe?
something like that.
Damn. I forget their name. They were like a signed band. It wasn't like a local band. I don't know if they do stuff anymore. But yeah, that I remember that tour though. You know, not opening for them. I mean, that was a really awesome show. But that tour was Skeleton Witch with Chance. I think it was like
One of the last
maybe
tours they did with
one
him,
of the
right?
last tours they did with him, and that tour was straight up like 50 shows with only a handful of days off. It was like one of the longest announced tours I've ever seen, and it wasn't like probably isn't happening this year, but the Megadeth Lamb of God Trivium in Flames tour that got announced this year, where they
Yeah.
have a bunch of dates in the summer and then a bunch of dates in the fall. It's like, oh, that's a really long tour, but oh, there's a month or two in between. This was just like straight through. We're doing like 54 shows, like road dogs, dude. But yeah, that's it. Any last thoughts?
Uh, just one little random thing that I remember was I like what they do. I think it's how they mix up the main riff a little bit in Betrayed by Technology. That was one point I just wanted to make where they add trots the second time through. I believe it's that song. It's either that or Fear Campaign. It's definitely one of those two songs.
Yeah.
Just blended. Yeah, that's Betrayed by Technology. But yeah, that's about it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool.
Betrayed by
things.
Technology has a lot of cool like production things going on during the chorus, and then the
Yeah.
way like it's got this just like slow, chunky like chord progression during the chorus, but when it kind of picks up a little bit, it's like yeah, hang your head. It's
Cool song.
that's good shit. Yeah, yeah. Scores
7.5 out of 10.
cool. Well, it's an 8 out of 10. Like it. Yeah. Let's see. There's an Onward review that's up.
Oh yeah.
That we did. There's an Ozzy Osbourne video. Go watch that. We ranked all their albums. Let's see. I am going to be doing a ranking of every Black Dahlia Murder album here pretty soon.
Ooh,
I got 2 albums to revisit, but I got to do it. Let's see. We got a couple other things we're talking about.
Yeah, a couple other different
happening.
kinds of videos to do. So
I know a couple albums got delayed. Lamb of God was supposed to be out tomorrow, but that got delayed to June 19th, same day as Last of Us Part 2. So that'll be a good day. So that'll be happening. Firewind comes out next weach. Excited about that. So,
nice. I'll listen to that.
Yeah, there's some reviews on the way. So let us know what you think of 5 from Havok. Thanks for watching. See you later.